Hello, and thanks for joining me. For those of you that don't know me personally, my name is Chad Kerksick, and I work as a professor of exercise science at Lindenwood University in St. Charles, Missouri. So, for the past 20 years, I've taught and conducted research on exercise and sports nutrition, and I lead a research laboratory there that we call the EPNL, which stands for Exercise and Performance Nutrition Laboratory. So, I put this presentation together. I wanted to help explain a study that we're trying to complete that's going to help us understand a lot more things about the importance of nutrition and fueling for different types of high school athletes. So I'm going to turn my camera off now so we can see the full screen all the way through the presentation. So why do this study overall? This study is important because it's going to help us answer questions like, how many calories do you need to fuel your body? How many calories do you burn each day? Are you eating enough calories? How does your strength and power relate to your diet? What are some of the strengths and weaknesses of your diet? And then also, is the amount of muscle I have, normal for my age and for my sport? So the study overall, the purpose of this study, the objective is to assess your body composition, dietary intake, energy expenditure, nutrition knowledge, as well as energy availability. And we're wanting to do this in all male and female high school athletes to help these athletes understand better their fueling demands in addition to their parents as well as their coaches. Ideally, if everybody understands things a little bit better, they'll be able to make better choices nutritionally, fuel themselves, and stay healthier, as well as perform better. So when we look at body composition is essentially how much bone, muscle, and fat you have on your body. Dietary intake will be basically the amount of calories you consume, carbs, fats, and proteins, vitamins, and minerals. Energy expenditure is how many calories you're burning. Knowledge is certainly just what you know and don't know about general nutrition and sport nutrition. And then energy availability you think of as how much energy you have available for your body to live and do what it needs to do. So this study's active right now. It's ongoing. We're trying to recruit participants for it right now. So you can get started really as soon as you would like. You'll need to come to the Lindenwood University campus in St. Charles and visit our laboratory. And essentially, 13 to 17-year-old individuals that are participating in a high school sanctioned sport, are going to be kind of our primary demographic for this study. So this study is broken up into three different tiers of testing. The first tier is kind of all of our basic required testing, and I've kind of mentioned a few of these before, but this is where we're going to measure, your body composition. And I'm getting my laser pointer going. So this is a picture of somebody basically just completing a DEXA scan right here. So this scanner will give us an estimate of your bone mass and muscle mass and fat mass. It's actually extremely accurate at doing that. Resting metabolic rate measurements are done over here. And here you basically just lay down on a table, covered up with a blanket. You have to stay awake for about 20 minutes or so. And then essentially that machine will do some calculations and give us an estimate of how many calories you burn if you were to just lay in bed or lay on that table all day long. And it's an extremely important number to help derive an understanding of how many calories somebody might need. We'll also do a couple of strength and power measures. So our strength measure over here will be done with what we call a mid-thigh pull. Basically, you stand in there, we get that bar lined up on your thighs, you grab onto the bar and you just try and pull the bar up, just as hard as you can. You'll be standing on a couple force plates, and those plates will measure how much force you're trying to push into the floor. And then we'll also do kind of a dynamic measure of strength and power with having you jump up and down off of some force plates as well. And then the last thing we're going to have you do is we're going to have you take an iPad and fill out a very brief sport nutrition knowledge questionnaire to give us an idea of where some strengths and weaknesses are just in terms of understanding nutrition. So from there, we've got two additional optional tiers, and we call them tier 2 and tier 3. So tier 2, if you decide to do it, we would then outfit you, give you a heart rate monitor that you could wear during all of your subsequent workouts, for the next 5, 6, 7 days or so. It doesn't really matter how many days we get. We want to get at least 5 days, maybe kind of ideally up to 6 or 7 days. If you're a swimmer, we'll be able to give you a heart rate monitor that actually collects on to your goggle strap, or you can tuck it under your swim cap. And then other athletes, we've got monitors that you could wear on your forearm or wear on your watch. These will just basically track your heart rate, give us an idea how many calories you're burning, potentially how much you're moving around, and so forth. Now, another big important part of Tier 2 is we're going to have everybody fill out a food record. If you've never filled out a food record before, they are tedious. They are a lot of they take a lot of time. They can be aggravating. I'm just being honest with you right now. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to want to not give us as much detail as you can. But we desperately need you to stay focused and be completely committed to giving us as much of accurate information as you possibly can about all the food that's going into your body. Measure quantities, measure portions. You can take pictures of the foods. There's a number of approaches that we'll work with you on. But for all of the days that you track your activity with that monitor, we want you to track how much food and fluid you're consuming as well. And then we'll also do another form of dietary intake that's called a food frequency questionnaire. And this will be done on like an iPad or a computer. It's done online. It'll take about 30 to 45 minutes. It takes a long time. It's not something that you'll get done relatively quickly. It goes through a whole series of questions asking you about how frequently, how often you consume different types of food groups and so forth, fruits and vegetables, dairy, different kinds of meats, grains, and so forth. Get all that information completed. We'll schedule some time for you to come back into the lab, kind of bring us our equipment back. We'll ask you some follow-up questions. And then at that point, you can be done, or you can opt in for Tier 3, which during that visit, then we would complete a VO2 peak assessment or VO2 max. We do that on a bike or a treadmill, probably a treadmill, and basically that protocol will give us an assessment of your cardiovascular fitness, or basically just overall just like how fit you are, and that'll be an important marker that we can kind of build as well. So if we look at the complete process here from start to finish, the two boxes of bars here over in gray, those are things that can be done before you ever visit the laboratory. Obviously, you'll need to make contact. Tell us that you're interested. We'll learn a little bit more about you. Make sure you're eligible. And then we're going to need to spend a little bit of time with the athlete and with the parent, basically getting consent. So you kind of fill out some paperwork that's standard for all of our studies, get you scheduled to come into your first visit, and that's where you'll complete all of your Tier 1 testing. It'll take you about an hour. If you opt in for Tier 2, then we'll give you all of that equipment and explanation. You'll go off and live your life, do your training, do your practices, and wear those monitors for 5, 6, 7 days. We'll get some time scheduled for you to come back into the lab, and then we'll kind of ask some follow-up questions. And if you want to be done, you're done. Or if you want to opt in and do Tier 3 and have that VO2 max assessment completed, you can do that as well too. Just to kind of reiterate who's eligible and maybe who's not. Again, we're looking for 13 to 17-year-old male or female high school athletes. Through completion of your medical history, you need to be healthy. You need to be kind of currently participating in some type of school sport. We want individuals who have completed kind of regular training over the past 12 months, and we haven't really taken any significant break. For at least 4 weeks, and we would ideally like you to be consistently training for the last 8 weeks. So if you review everything, all of the different information, got this broken up into Tier 1, 2, and 3 again. So remember, in Tier 1, you'll get information about your body composition. So think of your bone mass and muscle mass and fat mass, your metabolic rate, or how many calories you're burning each day, strength and power measurements, get an assessment of your sport nutrition knowledge, as well as kind of an idea of your overall energy availability. And then in Tier 2, remember, that's where you'll basically take the monitors home, and you'll fill out that food record. We'll be able to get very detailed information about your nutritional intake, pattern of food consumption in different food groups, as well as how many calories you're burning during your workouts and during non-workout periods as well. And then if you opt in for Tier 3, we'll actually be able to get your VO2 max, which is kind of an indication of your aerobic capacity. So what's in it for you for overall from start to finish? We're going to give every athlete, some type of a customized data report that highlights all of your information. And from that, we'll be able to give you some personalized education as well as nutrition feedback. But I really think one of the biggest reasons, kind of why we want individuals to think about doing this study is it's just going to help us and other academics like myself to provide better information. We are a scientific laboratory, so we're going to take that information and analyze that data and communicate those results with different, scientific papers, presentations, and grants. That honestly, people all across the world will be able to see that information. So you have to think about your participation is potentially going to help any high school coach, any researcher, any other athlete or parent who has a high school age athlete after you get finished. So that's a pretty cool thing. We'll also use the information to kind of build out some better educational materials, particularly for the athletes in the St. Louis area. And then we are going to try and give each athlete a personalized shaker cup, personalized t-shirt, as well as just a small little gift card. I do want to say that any of the information we collect from you and share publicly, it's not going to have your name available. Like, you're not going to be able to be identified, and that's just kind of a standard aspect of doing research. So all of your identifiable information will be removed. What if you want to stop? All participation in all research studies is voluntary. You can stop at any time, absolutely no problem at all. All we ask is just basically contact the lab. Tell us it's not going to work out. You can't make it. It just doesn't work with your schedule. If you've got any of our equipment, we'll need to schedule some time for you to get back to the lab and get that equipment returned to us. If you're interested in getting started, the name of the study here is Assessment of Fueling Needs and Health Status in high school athletes. First step you can do, just send me an email at my email address here and just mention high school fueling study. The other thing you can do is just take a picture of this QR code on the right, follow the link to the initial screening form, and you'll be off and on your way. So thank you so much for listening to this presentation. I've got 2 young girls right now. I'm super excited about kind of working to get more and more of this information available to try to help as many athletes and parents and their coaches in the St. Louis area and really across the world as possible. So thank you. Have a great day.